you still thought that the campaign was recoverable for President Biden?
I am not a person who believes that elections are decided in June. I believe they're decided in November. We had some big events ahead of us that I thought we had to take into account as we thought about moving forward. We had a convention. We had a second debate in September that, you know, had the president stayed in, I think would have had a world record number of people watching it. So anyway, so I was not prepared immediately after the debate to say that the campaign was ended.
And you thought you had no concerns about President Biden's fitness to serve another 4 years after the debate?
I dealt with Joe Biden as president, you know, nearly 3.5 years, take a few months out for when I was gone. You know, I watched him make hard decisions. I watched him make easy decisions. I watched him do some incredibly difficult things. And I did not have concerns around his cognitive ability to do the job as president.
And you still didn't have those concerns after the debate?
I did not have those concerns.
Do you think that the American people's concerns about President Biden's cognitive or physical fitness were legitimate?
Well, you know, the American people have a right to make their own decisions, but the American people also have a right to change their minds, to get more information, and that's what campaigns are about. So what we were concentrating on was how do we put together a campaign coming out of this that can still win.
On July 8th, the president issued a letter saying that he was staying in the race, similar to what you've been saying. He won
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
so many delegates, so many votes, that kind of thing. That say, were you involved in the drafting of that letter?
I was not.
Were you involved in the press or communications aspect of that letter?
Yes, I was.
What did that involvement look like?
Pardon?
What did that involvement look like?
The press and communications around it. No, I don't recall specifics. The decision that it was drafted and presented really as something that the president had already signed off on, and then we were just going to figure out what to do with it in the press, but I don't recall exactly what tactics we used.
Do you recall whose idea the letter was? Like why he needed to stake such a hard claim at that moment?
You know, as I recall, we had been having, as part of our senior advisor discussions, the need to kind of shut this down, to take away the discussion about whether he would drop out. So I do not know whose idea the letter was. I just know that it was very much in the vein of what we'd been talking about in terms of next steps.
And then, I'm not going to read the quote because I didn't print off the transcript, but on July 10th, Speaker Emeritus Pelosi said, in essence, it's up to the president to decide whether or not he's going to run. Do you recall that?
I do remember that.
That was 2 days after the president said he's absolutely going to run.
I do remember that.
Did the speaker give you, or are you aware if she gave anyone else a heads up about this comment?
I did not get a heads up from her. I am unaware if she gave anyone else, but she may have.
What was the White House's reaction to that interview?
No, I can only speak to my own reaction here, which was obviously she was reopening a door that we were trying to close. And it was, you know, clear that this was an additional political problem, you know.
To your awareness, was the president aware of the speaker's comments?
Well, he was certainly aware of them after she made them. I do not know if he had prior knowledge.
What was his reaction after the fact?
No, I don't remember talking to him directly.
Do you remember getting a readout of his reaction from any of the other senior staff?
You know, I don't remember getting a readout. I was not as involved at that point in some of the discussions, so.
And then on July 11th, I believe you went to a meeting of the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee. Is that correct?
I do not remember attending that meeting.
Okay. was that just Mr. Ricchetti, Mr. Donlin, and
Jen O'Malley Dillon,
Jen O'Malley
yes.
Dillon? Okay. Did you get a readout from that meeting?
As I remember, I got a very brief readout that it was just very tough. So
There wasn't a whole lot of support.
there was
within
not a whole
the
lot of
Senate.
support. Mhm.
Do you recall if that readout was presented to the president?
I do not know if it was. I would, again, I was not in all the meetings at that point.
Were you surprised that the president had little support in the Senate at that point?
No, as I remember, it was at a very, it was at a fairly low point, and the senators, and the senators weren't coming out publicly, but they were still communicating privately. So, I guess I was not surprised that senators were worried.
Because there had been private communications from the senators, or why?
Why was I not surprised?
Yes.
I think there had certainly been some individual communications into the senior advisor team, primarily to Steve Ricchetti, because he dealt more with congressional relations and he did report them out.